Good evening. This work session of the Board of Education of the Cleveland Municipal School District will come to order. Mr. Stockdale, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Ellicott?
Here.
Mr. Briggs? Here. Ms. Jones? Here. Mrs. LeBron?
Here.
Dr. Sridhar?
Here.
Mrs. Welchow? There are 5 members present.
Thank you. I'd ask everyone who wishes to rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 20th board business meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. It's great to be back here at Arnold Pinkney East Professional Center. As many of you know, last June the Board of Education unanimously adopted a resolution to rename this building for former Board of Education President Arnold R. Pinkney, and we were pleased to hold a renaming ceremony and ribbon cutting here just before this board meeting. I want to take the opportunity to remind everyone, also in June, that our board unanimously voted to place an operating levy and bond issue on the ballot for the November 5th general election. The Board of Elections just last week designated our levy and bond issue as Issue 49. This issue will appear on the ballot following all the candidates and in all but a few precincts immediately after Issue 1. Issue 49 will be the next to last issue on your ballot, immediately before Issue 45, the Arts and Culture Proposed Cigarette Excise Tax. The last day to register to vote in this election is Monday, October 7th. Both early in-person voting at the Board of Elections and voting by mail begins on Tuesday, October 8th. On Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th, the polls will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. We urge everyone to get out and vote. Next, I'm pleased to introduce our CEO to present this evening's CEO report. Dr. Morgan.
Thank you so much, Chair Ellicott, and welcome everyone to our September work session. September is Attendance Awareness Month, so some things you'll be hearing from the district this month is making sure we have all of our scholars back in school because we've been in for over a month, but then also making sure we push attendance. Last year we did a lot of efforts to make sure we increase student attendance and also decrease chronic absenteeism. So now more than ever we want to make sure our scholars are ready, in school, prepared, and on time. So there's many different efforts we're doing, including our Step Up to Support Our Kids Rally, which is on Saturday, September 21st, at 10 a.m. here at the Arnold R. Pinkney East Professional Center. So to find out more, please go to our website. You can find out more information about it and also sign up. So we're looking forward to that. At this time, I want to share a little information for my update, which will talk a little bit about our efforts of how we're thinking about planning for the future and also thinking about our student experience for the future. So some things you may have heard us talk about in a lot of meetings, definitely in our presentations that I've done around our core measures and our goals that we have for the system, but maybe on a commercial you may have seen or on a post that we may have had on social media. It's around the future of CMSD. When we talk about the future of CMSD, we're talking about everything that has led us to the progress that we've had up to date. We're talking about the efforts of the Cleveland Plan that has helped us sustain so many of our great efforts that we had up until this point, but truly thinking about what the future of CMSD looks like and what does future impact look like. Soon we'll be sharing some of the impact and progress that the district has made last school year. We'll be excited to share some of the great progress from last school year. Maybe I'll be even sharing some of that in the next board meeting. But when we also think about the future of CMSD, we must think about how many of our kids and scholars are in a high quality facility within their neighborhood. So we say every kid, or every scholar, every school, every neighborhood. So the future of CMSD as we define it, is really defined by these 4 words, which is equity, access, quality, and focus. So as we're providing that high-quality student experience for every student within our system, we also must keep in mind our financial resources. You have heard many times from me as well as this board talking about our financial position. Right in front of you is our May 5-year forecast. As you know, we have to do a 5-year forecast twice every year, once in November and one in May. And this is our most recent 5-year forecast, which shows the work that we did last year to make some reductions and also plan costs of $80 million over the next few fiscal years. But it also shows that by 26-27, we will be ending the year once again with a negative cash balance. Also, if you look at row 3 of this chart, it shows that even in this school year, we're operating from a deficit. Some of the efforts that we're working on is definitely, as you heard Chair Ellicott talk about, our community ask. But there's work that we must do in the district to ensure we put ourselves on a path to financial sustainability. So hence, when you put these 2 things together, student experience and pathway to financial sustainability, I want to introduce, well, not even introduce, but just rename or reintroduce long-term planning to the community. This is something that the district has done over the course of time. There's been a cycle for what we've done when we think about long-term planning, but we wanted to make sure that everyone here is aware of the definition and what we mean when we say long-term planning. And simply put, long-term planning is ensuring that we have a high-quality student experience for every scholar in CMSD while also keeping in mind our district's financial resources and the financial sustainability. So that's what long-term planning is. It's planning a high-quality student experience while also putting the district on a pathway to financial sustainability. So when we talk about this work moving forward, there's a lot of work that has already been done. Some of that work is just, we've been collecting various data at the school level. We've been collecting various pieces of data over time, studying some of the historic trends, looking at some of the past plans that we've done, such as the segment plans, and really studying that history and understanding that. We've also initiated a facility study to learn more about our facilities, look at demographic trends. These are all different information that's going to help us understand the current state of CMSD, but also help us plan for the future state. We've been looking at our finances, not only our current finances, but the trends of finances over time. And then also knowing that all of this work takes a robust stakeholder engagement plan that includes this board. The board is the final determination of what plans we will not only be implementing, but what plan is approved. So the district as well as the board having a robust stakeholder engagement plan to really understand the current context of the district and also whether the future hopes and aspirations of the community. So it sounds simple, and I know a lot of people will say, you know, if the district is in the financial position that it's in, why don't you close schools? Or why don't you, do this program or eliminate this? It's not that simple. And this chart, I'm not going to read all these different charts, but it just talks about all the different inputs. We talk about the student experience, the high-quality student experience we want for all of our scholars, the outcomes that we aspire for them to have, the achievement that we want them to continue to demonstrate. But we also must talk about school choice, which is a big part of the Cleveland plan. The community feedback, what the community wants. What are enrollment trends and demography studies showing us? The facility assessment. What are the quality of our facilities? Which facilities need upgrading? What is the 5-year forecast and how much money do we have within the system? But then also thinking about our school funding model, and not only the ones that we do at the district, but also how we're funded at the state. All of these things are things that must be taken into consideration and things that we must study, things that we must do intentionally and must do strategically as we move forward and think about this work. So what does that mean in terms of where we are? There's a lot of work ahead of us as we think about putting the district on a pathway to financial sustainability. We know some of that is going to include community meetings, which through the course of 2025, we do want to be having community meetings to talk about what the community aspires for when thinking about the future of our district, but then also putting in front of the community some of the trends and some of the studies that we've had. We do know that we will be sharing information on our website and just sharing information of trends and feedback that we've had, and that will be collected and started in 2025. Surveys that we need to be looking at, hearing from our community, but also hearing from our stakeholders, focus groups, advisory councils, all of these different things will be inputs that will help us understand not only what has historically happened in the district, but also thinking about the future pathway moving forward. And as always, Let's Talk will be a platform. It's a platform that we introduced last year to help us gather community feedback and support, but it's one that we'll be utilizing. All of these things are down the way, so nothing that is on this slide is immediately in the next couple of months. A lot of this will be kicking off in 2025. Some focus groups have already started, but really when we think about the broader community engagement, that'll be 2025. And through it all, our board is one that will continue to be engaged. We have board meetings the rest of this year, but then a larger board step back that'll be happening in the next couple of months, and board step backs that we'll have throughout 2025 to help us with this. So this is a high-level overview of what we think about when we think about long-term planning. But if there's one takeaway I want you to have is our definition when we think about long-term planning, which is a high-quality student experience while also being good stewards of the district and putting our district on a pathway to financial sustainability. With that, I'll take any questions that the board may have.
Any discussion from board members? No. Thank you, Dr. Morgan.
Thank you. And also, as part of my update, I'm excited to bring back our school spotlight. This was something, a highlight of last school year, where we were able to bring spotlights from our schools and just information from our schools. And we're so excited that Principal Sturinsky from Rhodes is up first to show us a little bit more about her campus and the work that her school has been doing. So I'll invite Principal Sturinsky up.
Good evening. It's so wonderful to be here. I appreciate you all taking the time, thank you, to hear a little bit about our school. As Dr. Morgan said, my name is Alyssa Sturinsky, which is a lot of syllables, so my students end up calling me Miss Star. I'm actually the founding principal of Rhodes College and Career Academy, which started 8 years ago. This is our 8th year. So this is a brief overview. We're going to go over who we are, some success measures, all climate measures, equity measures, and then some foci as we progress forward, as well as go over some celebrations. So who we are. So here we're asked to talk about the makeup of our school. So currently we have 591 students. We typically bounce back and forth for the largest high school within the district. We compete with a couple other schools, but we are a large school with 591 kids. Of our population, 5% is identified as gifted, 9% is identified as English language learners, and 24% of our students receive special education services. Our school demographic, racial demographics, as you can see, we're over half Black or African American, 22% of students that identify as Hispanic, 15% of students that identify as white, and then 10% of students that identify as other. This is actually really reflective of the city, which I think is a wonderful attribute to our school. Our staff racial makeup, as you can see there, so we're not, diversity is something that in many ways that we're always striving to make sure we're representing. So college and career measures. So our current grad rate, our 4-year grad rate is 90.7. We are so close to a weighted grad weight. If you don't know how the report card works, they combined your 4-year grad weight at 60% with your 5-year grad rate at 40%. So this year we're 89.9, and they do not round. But we will be breaking 90% this year. So we know the report card, that grad measure, it lags a year. So it's actually the one indication you know going into the following school year how you're going to do. So we know right now that next year in a report card we will break 3 stars, which is a testament. I'm one person standing up here, but is a testament to our amazing teachers, our amazing staff, our amazing students. And that is what we will be focusing on, or celebrating, but we know focusing going into next year. Gap closing is what we're really going to lean into, making sure that all of our students are growing at really successful rates. So we're going to go over some achievement measures. So this is our math proficiency data. So in the blue, you'll see Algebra 1, which is students that got a 700 or higher. So in the state of Ohio, there's a competency score. That means you're competent, but you're not proficient. We're always looking towards proficiency. So for Algebra 1, we had 48% of our students proficient. So we were right on par with state proficiency measures, which was a really solid indication of we're doing the right moves. As always, when you work with kids, it's not about maintaining, it's about continuing to use that data as you continue to move forward and move kids forward. Our geometry data, it's a struggle across the state. It's absolutely a struggle for us. We only had 7% proficiency, but knowing that algebra is what kids need to graduate, it's not by any means that geometry doesn't matter, it does, but absolutely we are very proud of our algebra data. Looking at ELA 2, similarly, we had 45% of our students that were proficient. A little lagging as far as the state proficiency scores, but we did meet, and we'll talk more about it in celebrations, but we did meet our growth goal for our Black students, which is an area that we're obviously paying attention to, knowing historical data within the district. So our culture and climate measures, so this is really drawn from our CFL data. So this is where students self-report how they feel. So we can see on most indications, the majority of our kids find it adequate or excellent. The biggest area of growth, if you look at historical district data, is always that SEL scale rating, and that really talks about students' interpersonal relationships with one another and how to work on that. So not just thinking about do kids themselves feel safe, but when they interact with peers, how do those interactions go and what impact does that have? So that's always going to be an area of focus for all of the adults, but as well as growing students' capacity, because you want to make sure that even in difficult times, you make great decisions, and that's part of school beyond any state test. So our equity measures, this is actually looking at suspension data. So I'm very proud to report that at this point in the school year, there's only been one out-of-school suspension out of Power BI. We wish that was the case at the end of the year. Knowing that it's not, it is absolutely critical to maintain positive relationships and maintain all of the different moves we do in order to allow students to have consequences that are logical, that don't automatically end in suspension. One of the ways we do that is through our positive, our PBIS, Positive Behavior Incentive System. So our teachers all use Kickboard, where they can really shout out kids. It's called RAM Pride. So they're prepared, they're resilient. So the acronym for PRIDE. So kids can get points within that, then they cash in their points to buy swags, they cash in their point to get tickets to dances, and that is one way that we incentivize making great choices. So areas of focus. So coming up, for this school year, we know we've done some things really well with our AAP strategies based on the growth we're seeing, but we also know where we have to push. So the first way that we do that is a team. Something we say is literacy is a team sport. It can't just live in English. English teachers are responsible for tone and mood, but as a staff, every content area has to make sure that our kids can critically read, comprehend what they read, and ultimately produce based on the information they've taken in. So with that, our critical reading strategy is called RAM. What is your reason for reading? How are you going to annotate to make sure, something I think adults do that we take for granted, we start marking up text. We don't even realize we're doing it. That is an intrinsic skill that we want to grow, that capacity to check your understanding as you're reading. That's all about the annotation. And then finally, make meaning. How are we stretching kids' brains to make sure they understood what they read? A lot of our kids are great at fluency and reading something, you're like, okay, they got it. But then if you ask questions, very quickly they say, come again? So this is a strategy really to support students' ability to critically read. Leveled paragraph is our strategy to give kids a systemic way to respond in writing. And actually we've gotten feedback from our grads, they're like, Miss, this still works in college. We're like, yes. Writing can be formulaic, and really the flair comes once you have those foundational building blocks, and that's what leveled paragraph focuses on. Lastly, collaboration. We have an amazing staff, and the constant ask is leverage each other's expertises, go window shopping, what is working well in other classrooms, and ultimately, what are your consistent formative checks for understanding? So what are the data pieces you're gathering along the way in order to make informed decisions about where you're going? So areas of celebration. Our enrollment always hovers right around 600. We did have the largest graduating class, which we've had for the last couple of years. We've met our chronic absenteeism goals. We have great community partners. Our Algebra 1 proficiency is doing what it needs to, and 75.8% of our kids are competent. Again, they didn't hit the proficiency mark, but they don't have to take any remedial classes within algebra, which is great. In ELA proficiency, we're seeing the same type of on-trackness with 67% of kids hitting competency. We do have 4 stars on progress currently, which is how we're growing our most vulnerable kids. And next year, as I said, we'll have 3 stars on our grad rate. And this is a student-produced video.
Ram.
And we finna go get some footage. Cool? Cool.
Let's go. How do you feel about student news being in the class now?
Oh, I like that, yeah.
You like
We
that?
the whole team now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel like it's good because it gives a bigger opportunity to get more interviews.
How about y'all talk and walk us through roads? And how do y'all feel about roads?
Got that.
This is Rose College and Career Academy up here.
There you go.
Hey, Miss Sims.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is.
What are y'all doing?
Caught you lacking.
Hey, Miss Sims.
I love seeing how you guys grow and mature. So like right now, my juniors this year who were my freshmen 2 years ago, or my seniors that were freshmen 3 years ago, like I love seeing how mature you guys have become and how much better you are from compared to what you were as a freshman. And I just love seeing how you guys just like grow up and become more what I expected you to be.
Yeah.
Right? So I love seeing that.
I feel like a real live YouTuber right now. Like, look at this. Look at life.
You know what you say out your mouth? Take your word. You hear yourself? You gotta make a impression every year on yourself. You get what I'm saying? Good. Thank you so much.
What made you come to Rhodes?
Mainly for sports, and I feel like they got a good educational system. Feel me? And I heard that it was some good people here, some good counselors, some good administrators, some pretty good people. That's why I came.
All right, bye.
And that's Rose College and Career Academy in a nutshell, hopefully in a 10-minute nutshell. So I would love to answer any questions anybody may have.
Thank you, Principal Sternsky. Any discussion from board members? Mr.
Very
Briggs?
well done. Thank you.
Dr. Streeter?
How are you? He certified all of our graduates last year, and it was a lot of them, so thank you for certifying them.
Thank you. And actually, I was just about to make a comment about that. I had the pleasure of attending the graduation ceremony in the summer. And my comment has nothing to do with the presentation, which was great, but I just wanted to give you a personal compliment. I stood right next to you as we were shaking hands with every one of the graduates, and you had something meaningful to say to every one of them as they walked by. And that's a mark of a school leader that understands her students, understands her community, and supports them well. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for certifying them.
Thank you.
Just want to congratulate you for your progress, and I hear report cards will be released soon. So it'll
We
be.
have the secure data center.
Oh,
you
so
get a
you
sneak peek.
you got
go
the
in
sneak
there, you
peek,
get it ahead
yeah.
of time,
So yeah, congratulations on the progress and helping with the overall district progress. I had one question. I was happy to see you share data on your gifted students, and that's been something I've been really curious about as I'm heading into the second year. In terms of what are we doing for our gifted students, I gotten a chance to meet a lot of our gifted teachers just while I've been out and about, And I'm just curious to know, like, what does a gifted student mean at Rhodes College and Career Academy?
That is a fantastic question. So what we've really trying to do or become more competent in is really working with 8th grade data to develop 9th grade honors courses. So at the high school level, the gifted indicator is, are students not allowed to, but are they sitting in higher level courses? And so that can look like honors classes, AP classes, or college credit plus classes. And we partner with High Tech Academy. And so really being intentional to using data to develop pathways for accelerated students to continue their acceleration. One of the things the pandemic taught us is kids that want to fly. And they can, a lot of our kids can fly in the right environment. And so by developing those honors pathways, we're really developing a pipeline for our AP programs. We're really developing a pipeline for our High Tech Academy programs. We know both in our district nationally that the retention rate of students, specifically students of color and first-time college attending students, is not great. So we know by exposing our kids to programs like High Tech, where they're stretching those muscles and becoming accustomed to how to add a class, drop a class, ask a professor for help. How do I access my grades in College Board? What do you mean my grade's only one test? By gaining that confidence and those skills, they're able to be more successful later on. So to be a gifted kid at RCCA looks like you're exposed, you have access to high level pathways that then prepare you to do whatever you want to after high school. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. This evening, we have 9 resolutions in the areas of finance, operations, academics, and equity and culture that will be presented to the board for discussion only. The board will be asked to consider the adoption of these resolutions at our September 24th board business meeting. Dr. Morgan, would you please present these resolutions that are on this evening's agenda?
Yes, first we have one finance resolution. So 6.01, authorizing the acceptance of grants from Montessori Development Partnerships and Step Forward, and authorizing the Chief Executive Officer to spend the funds in accordance with the terms and conditions of the grant. With this resolution, the board will be accepting the following gifts and grants and authorizing the CEO to spend those gifts and grants in accordance with the terms and conditions. From Montessori Development Partnerships, a grant in the amount of $33,000 to support the development and launch of the elementary Montessori teacher residency with the goal to support high-fidelity Montessori instruction at Stonebrook Michael R. White Montessori campus and Tremont Montessori as part of CMSD's portfolio strategy. From Step Forward, a grant in the amount of $635,400 to support ensuring preschoolers from ages 3 to 5 are prepared to enter kindergarten and develop a love of learning.
Any questions from the board on this resolution? Okay.
The next two resolutions are operations resolutions. So 7.01, authorizing the CEO to enter into a 4th renewal with DEX Imaging, an authorized Kyocera dealer to provide multifunctioning printer, equipment, maintenance, centralized service, repair, and supplies on a cost per copy basis of an amount not to exceed $539,000 per year for the period of November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025. This is an annual resolution, the 4th of 5 one-year renewals to provide multifunctional scanners, copiers in school buildings and administrative offices, and the annual cost is not to exceed $539,000. 7.02, authorizing the CEO to enter into a 3rd renewal with guaranteed delivery services for the pickup and delivery of district-wide school mail to all facilities of the Cleveland Municipal School District in an amount not to exceed $115,000 a year. This also is an annual resolution to approve the 3rd renewal of the district's mail delivery service with guaranteed delivery service. The Distribution and Logistics Office manages this work, and Guaranteed Delivery Service has demonstrated that they have expertise and the ability to deliver school mail to school districts' facilities on a daily basis.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay.
The next is an academic resolution. 8.01, exercising elections to have community school data noted on the Cleveland Municipal School District's 2024-25 state report card. The 2012 Cleveland Plan legislation allows CMSD to both share levy dollars with partnering charter schools and include their academic performance in our state report card. With this resolution, the board is electing to include the 2024-25 school year academic performance data of our 11 partnering charter schools in our state report card. The board has exercised this option every year since the passage of the Cleveland Plan.
Any questions from the board on this academic resolution? Okay.
The next 5 resolutions are our equity and culture resolutions. 9.01, authorizing actions necessary to issue a purchase order to Smith's Detection for the annual service agreement for the maintenance and repair of all X-ray units in an amount not to exceed $116,638. With this resolution, the board will authorize renewal of a contract with Smith's Detection, a sole source provider of repair and maintenance service for the school district's X-ray metal detection units used in all of our school buildings. This agreement with Smith's Detection lowers costs and improves response times while addressing preventive maintenance and annual radiation surveys. The terms of the agreement are $4,022 per X-ray unit. Exhibit B also has the information in the school locations of the current units. This is definitely something that is really important, particularly more now than ever, to keep our buildings safe. 9.02, authorizing the employment of teaching, non-teaching, and school-based administrative staff. This is a routine monthly resolution authorizing a total of 97 new hires this month. The details which are set forth in Exhibit A attached to the resolution. 9.03, the reclassification of employees. This is a routine monthly resolution authorizing the reclassification of a total of 24 employees this month. The details which are set forth in Exhibit A attached to the resolution. 9.04, accepting the retirements, resignation, and other separations of employees. This is a routine monthly resolution accepting a total of 37 separations of employees this month, the details which are set forth in the attached exhibit. 9.05, authorizing the issuance of limited contracts for differential positions and the payment of additional earned compensation to employees. This also is a routine resolution offering the differentials and additional payments for a total of 10 employees this month, the details which are set forth in Exhibit A attached to the resolution.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on the equity and culture resolutions? All right. Thank you, Dr. Morgan. That concludes the presentations of the resolutions on tonight's board agenda. Is there any old business? Any new business? For new business, on behalf of the board, Ms. Midori Lebron celebrated her birthday recently, and I want to wish her a happy birthday. The next regular board meeting will be a board business meeting on Tuesday, September 24th at 6:30 p.m. at Natividad Pagan International Newcomers Academy, 3145 West 46th Street. The chair will now entertain a resolution that the board enter into executive session for the purpose of considering the appointment of and employment of public employees and officials, preparing for negotiations with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, and conferring with attorneys concerning disputes involving the Board of Education that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Stockdale, please call the roll.
Ms. Ellicott?
Yes.
Mr. Briggs?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBron?
Yes.
Dr. Sridhar?
Yes.
Motion passes with 5 votes.
Thank you. The board will now move into executive session. Following executive session, the board will return to this room to briefly conduct some further business. The board is now back in public session. The chair will now entertain a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the termination of a non-teaching employee.
So moved.
Thank you. Dr. Morgan, any explanation?
Yes, this resolution is to approve a recommendation for termination for violation of district policies, procedures, and rules.
Any discussion from board members? Hearing no further discussion, Mr. Stockdale, would you please call the roll?
Chair Ellicott,
Yes.
Mr. Briggs,
Yes.
Ms. Jones, Mrs. LeBron,
Yes.
Dr. Sridhar.
Yes.
Motion passes with 5 votes.
Thank you. The resolution passes. The chair will now entertain a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the termination of a non-teaching employee.
So moved.
Thank you. Dr. Morgan, any explanation?
Yes, this also is a resolution for recommendation and for termination for violation of district policies, procedures, and rules.
Any discussion from board members? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Stockdale, would you call the roll?
Chair Ellicott,
Yes.
Mr. Briggs,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. LeBron,
Yes.
Dr. Sridhar.
Yes.
Motion passes with 5 votes.
Thank you. The resolution passes. There being no further business before the board, the chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn this board work session.
So moved.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good night.